Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the May 19th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. I'm Planning and Zoning Commission Chairman James Kirkpatrick. At this time, I would like to ask that all cell phones and electronic devices be turned off or put on silent. Please note this meeting is being recorded. For those of you that have not been with us before, the Planning and Zoning Commission is comprised of 7 members. 5 members are residents of the city of Burlington, are appointed by the city council. 2 members are residents of the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction and are appointed by the Alamance County Commissioners. For tonight's public comments, to address the commission in this meeting, please wait until called upon by the chair and address the commission from the podium. Comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and anyone who speaks must give their name and address for the record. Press and media can ask questions to the commission during the public comment period. As a reminder, the Planning and Zoning Commission is an advisory body that makes recommendations to the city council. No decisions are final at the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings. Additionally, in the event of a tie vote 3-3, the motion fails. I'd like to confirm that all the commission members and staff members on the agenda are present. Staff, will you please conduct a roll call of the commission and staff?
Yes, Chair Kirkpatrick,
Here.
Vice Chair Beasley,
Here.
Member Roan,
Here.
Member Mills,
Here.
Member Spadaccini is absent. Member Rayner,
Present.
Member Hill,
Here.
Member Britton, absent, and Member Saunders.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Perfect. Is there a conflict of interest with anyone on the commission regarding the matter that we are to discuss? I'll take that as a no. Jamie, you want to hit us with the lowdown?
Yep, the first matter of business is to approve.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to do that. Whoops. Approve this. Somebody's got to approve it first.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Motion second. All in favor? Aye. Jamie, hit it.
All right. So you have one rezoning request in front of you tonight. I will be happy to.
You want me to read it first?
You can.
That's how we typically do it. Will you go back to it?
Sure.
Item number 4, rezoning. John Arthur, applicant, to present a request to rezone the property from the conditional business Quit making it move. CB 757 district to the general business, limited use GBLU district. The property is 0.72 acres in size and is located in the northwest corner of South Church Street and Engelman Avenue. It is addressed as 2161 South Church Street and consists of Alamance County Tax Identification Number 120948.
Okay, so you summarized the application, and the first slide just shows the location of the property. It's at the corner of Engelman and South Church Street. I'm sort of hovering over it with my mouse. It is about 3/4 of an acre. The current zoning of the property is conditional business. It's conditional business 757, which was approved in, I believe, May of 2004. The future land use designation for the area is neighborhood commercial. It is currently vacant. The applicant is proposing to change the zoning of the property to general business with a limited use request. Sorry, I'm short-handed. Breathe.
Yeah, you
is
are.
the night off. So.
Good for her.
This slide really just summarizes the uses that are currently allowed on the property under the current conditional business 757. I believe there's 28 uses. And the purpose of this is to show in yellow, what is consistent with what the applicant is requesting, and in white, there's one addition that doesn't fall within our UDO. These are uses that are requested. So let me go back. This is under our zoning ordinance. The uses listed here are under our zoning ordinance, which was in effect until 2019. However, conditional business rezoning requests run with the land. So any conditions that were imposed as part of this rezoning request are still in effect. All of those uses are currently allowed on the property, and there were some other conditions as well. When the applicant or any applicant seeks to change the zoning to a UDO, Unified Development Ordinance District, like the General Business District, which is what they're requesting, we look at the uses that are allowed under the principal use table. So I've highlighted here in yellow those that are consistent with the previous or the current conditional rezoning are shown in yellow, and then the white uses, the white text, are additional uses that would be allowed under our general business, which they selected, making it a general business limited use request. Is there any questions about that?
I think you could say it again and I still wouldn't understand it.
I'll be happy to explain it as many times.
Everything that you're showing right here is fair game that can go on the property.
There are 119 uses.
Right, and they've narrowed it down to this?
They've picked 63.
Is this the 63?
Mhm.
Okay, okay, I was
And
right.
of this 63,
Mhm.
the yellow
Came
are the
from-
ones
From the old.
are
Got it.
consistent with
Okay.
what already can occur on the property.
Got it.
And then the whites are UDO principal uses that may not have been allowed under the previous rezoning.
Got it.
Current zoning. Okay?
Got it.
All right.
Thank you.
So as you know, with these types of requests, we do not get a site plan. We don't have an idea of what is specifically happening on the property. Planning and Zoning Commission, as well as City Council, cannot consider conditions like enhanced buffering or access points in certain locations or any other parameters. What you can consider under the Planning and Zoning Commission is to make recommendations consistent with your comprehensive plan. You can also consider making recommendations for uses to be removed from the list. It's up to the applicant in the long run whether or not they want to remove those uses, but you can certainly recommend that. I'm showing this table because this is our buffer table in accordance with Unified Development Ordinance, Table 5.3J6. And this basically shows on the left-hand column the zoning of a property, and then the right-hand columns are all zoning of adjacent properties. So if the property is rezoned to general business, I've highlighted in this orange row, it abuts medium density residential, which would require the most stringent buffer, which is a type D buffer. And then where it abuts other general business, that's a 10-foot type A buffer. So just going back to that zoning map, where it abuts GB, there would be a required 10-foot type A buffer, and then where it abuts MDR, which is medium density residential, that would be a 40-foot buffer, a type D buffer. Furthermore, this should this rezoning request be approved by city council, it would follow the general business dimensional standards, setbacks, height requirement, and everything else. It would no longer be consistent with the conditional business requirements. This map highlights our future land use designations. The pinkish shade is neighborhood business. The future land use designations are not necessarily parcel specific. They're more blob shaped, conceptual shaped. But the existing zoning, as well as the proposed zoning, are consistent with the future land use designation. Staff did recommend this rezoning request because this is a commercial corridor. Many of the uses that they're seeking are already allowed on the property. And we are in favor of bringing properties into compliance with our Unified Development Ordinance versus older standards that the UDO has enhanced landscaping, enhanced design standards, architectural standards, other provisions that any development that follows the UDO would have to comply with. So at this time, we are recommending approval consistent with option 1 included in your packet. You know the applicant? Okay. The applicant is in the audience in case you have any questions for them.
Do you have anything that you would like to add?
Just a little.
Okay.
I am
Can you
planning
just
on,
introduce yourself?
Please,
And
yeah.
state your name and your address.
I'm John Arthur. I live at 5032 Mill Point Road, Greensboro.
Okay.
I am planning on purchasing the lot next door, the old car wash, and putting a big car wash on it. So that's the whole big plan.
So the car wash that's there, now the self-service, and years ago, that used to be, that lot's where Robo Car Wash used to be. Years ago. When I was a kid. So,
Years ago.
yeah,
If not decades.
potato. So your intent is just to make one big
Yeah.
car wash?
Yeah.
Okay.
Similar to up the mill, keep the traffic out of the road though, that's my plan. And build a real nice one, you know, this, by a local owner, and, you know, we keep everything right here. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
What are the hours on something like that? How late are they open?
Probably 8 to 9. Yeah, 7 days a week, you know, usually. Big days is right after snow, right?
Yeah.
Don't move. Don't move. Any questions on the right?
Yeah, just curious, going back, I think Jamie mentioned it. So the boundary next to, I think it's a set of apartments on Engelman. And then the housing, the MDR in the back, those will have a 40-foot buffer? Okay,
Yes, however, I just want to state that the type D buffer could be reduced to 30 feet if there's
Berm.
a berm or an opaque fence put up.
the car wash, and it may be something I can't ask, but the car wash you're proposing, the ones I've seen on Huffman Mill Road and all that, they're kind of noisy.
Yeah.
And are they the same type car
It
wash?
would be the same type, but new equipment, latest and greatest equipment, and we do everything we could to minimize that noise.
And the last thing is, when will this be going from the TRC, Jamie?
So this would only go in front of this TRC, and any application would go, if they were seeking to build one of the uses that's not allowed under the current zoning would have to be approved, and then they could go in front of the TRC. at that time.
Okay, so will this go in front of the TRC?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Any
all right.
new construction, well, assuming they would, in my opinion, they would consolidate the lots, have them together as one lot, and then apply for technical review committee site plan application, where you would show the actual site plan and the layout, the landscaping, the lighting, all of the
So on
particulars.
the
associated.
internal storage and all that engineering stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to, when we put the layout on the drawing, we want to try to keep the car wash away from the back. So I want it closer to the road, is what I'm hoping for. So that'll help reduce that noise for the people in the back.
Well, that would be definitely helpful for that, because I know it is just, the one on Huffman Mill Road, I know at Eaton at Village, you can hear it sometimes, and then you got the funeral home just down the street, and so, but let's make sure this will go in front of the TRC, where they will look at the internal storage, circulation, how you handle the vacuum cleaners and exit driveways, entrance driveways, and all that. Okay.
Yep. In addition to NCDOT would also be part of the required review process as well.
Any questions, Lee?
Water, what will happen with,
A lot of water.
yeah, what goes back in city sewer?
Some of it, it will reclaim, then some of it will go back down the drain. We'll put, they said there was a big line there on Engelman Road, so we can pump it that way.
Place you can hook up to?
Yeah. Keep it away from the houses, you know. We want a well-maintained equipment. And I've got 22 years worth of equipment experience, so it shouldn't be a problem.
This side, anybody have a question?
I don't think so.
So I'll just remind everyone that with this type of request, everything that has been stated is not a commitment. So that really, in addition to that, any of the uses that are included on that slide are fair game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm new to this, so.
So is there anything else, if he does change the use, say you do want to go from a car wash to some other use on that page, 1 to 63 or whatever it is, I did see some of those were high traffic generators too. Will they go from the TRC?
Any new construction, new development,
On those combined lots?
on those combined lots would go in front of the TRC. This is a vacant piece of property, so any development on this site alone would go in front of the TRC because that's a requirement. If they combine the lots into one, that would be reviewed under a final plat by the city through an administrative process. And I couldn't see any reason why anything that would occur on the combined lots would be exempt from TRC at all.
Yep.
Is there a public comment?
I'm getting to it, buddy. You want to give me a second?
Beat me to it. I was gonna get you to.
Is anyone here to speak on this matter? Perfect.
How'd you know? Hi, everyone. Leanna Giles. I'm a resident, 1915 Sunnybrook Drive, and we are just to the right of the Engelman property, kind of where you're talking about. And I'm not really here to advocate for or against anything. I think development truly is something that's unavoidable. If you kind of look down as you're coming closer to Hersey's, you know that this is the last kind of empty lot. So we knew this was coming. What I am here to advocate for though is some help around the traffic and the entrances and the exits. You guys have just talked about that and addressed that. For 3 years, I have approached the city of Burlington and NCDOT to add designated left turns at that. My husband is a local attorney. He has represented a fatality there. We have numerous car accidents right now there on a regular basis. I mean, all the time. We've asked for studies, we've done it, we've gone through the proper channels, we're not getting any action. So what I'm here to say to you tonight is part of this is I really want you to consider and to think about the safety of the entire community. It's not just about the residents, it's not just about adding a car wash. It's much greater than that.
You're speaking of the intersection of Church Street and Engelman Avenue.
You got it.
Okay.
You got it. And, you know, somebody just said there's a funeral home right there. You know, I mean, you can think about the clientele and the amount of funerals and people that are in and out of there. So adding this is only gonna add another layer to that. And I just think it's important, and I'll show up at every meeting and tell you the same thing over and over and over. But we as a community of citizens, and you guys are made up of citizens, we've got to come together to do something about that intersection. And I don't think voting for or against this development is gonna change that. Development's coming, but we've got to protect our citizens in this intersection. And we need your vote in that. So, thank you.
Can we make a strong suggestion tied to this motion? I'm asking Jamie. As a commission, can we make a suggestion tied to the approval of this?
I would say that because you're an advisory board, you can make a recommendation in any form you want. However, the issues I believe that Ms. Giles is referring to, I mean, it's multiple things.
You guys.
But the TRC may require it. May require a TIA.
That's right.
That they may. I mean, you may get your traffic impact analysis when it goes to TRC.
I think they've already done one, and we've never heard back. You've also got a traffic change from 35 mile an hour to 45 mile an hour right there.
Again, we're not traffic people. We're not turn signal people. We're not turn lane people.
No,
We're zoning. I mean, we can make a recommendation
Yeah.
that a TIA is part of, or make a suggestion. We can't do anything, but we can try.
Thank you.
So in accordance with the UDO, there's thresholds by which the TIA is a
Traffic counts.
requirement.
Yeah, it's traffic counts.
Yeah.
But
So when so in a situation like this, without knowing what the end user is, typically you look at the highest use traffic generator to determine, you know, what kind of improvements would be needed there. And
Jamie,
If there's any at all.
Not to interrupt you, but I mean, in this case, with the expectation being a car wash, not necessarily the requirement for it, but the expectation being a car wash, that's gotta be pretty high up there on a traffic scale. And there's no entrance on Engelman to that lot currently.
There's two.
There's,
Yeah, there
on
used to be
the
two.
grass lot?
On
Well, there used to be two. There's probably two old driveway permits there.
I would say an existing actual entrance.
You wish to speak? Go ahead.
Glenn Patterson, 885 Cheeks Lane, Graham.
Okay.
Kevin Sasser and I own the lot. So it may help some is that we bought this thing and tore down the New Glow car wash and you forgot the gas pumps with the money that you put in and slid in. Remember that?
I wasn't buying gas. I was just looking at cars come through the
I
road.
remember in the 70s it being, when we did this lot and tore that down, we compacted it and we went to DOT with it. because part of this was going through this zone, the rezoning we had to do. So there are two entrances on Engelman. The one closest to the intersection will be shut down. There's now two entrances on Church Street. The one closest to the intersection will be shut down. Currently, with the lots separately, there's a access easement between the two lots. And I assume if it merged together, that if they're merged back together, that'll change one way or the other, but DOT's gonna keep it so far away from that
Sure.
intersection.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't think that has changed since we had rezoned before.
Right.
Of how many feet it is, so it either would stay where it is, or possibly could even move further away, depending on how the triangle lot works with traffic and all that.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
I am also not an expert in turn signals or traffic counts, but NCDOT would probably consider at least the vacant site a change of use, and therefore may have jurisdiction on, higher jurisdiction on access points. And I would also say, without 100% certainty, but when you combine the lots and then create a brand new facility, you know, there's the opportunity for really looking at what makes better access management.
Well, once the lot changes use from what it was and you had the original driveways, that's now a moot point from DOT. The driveways, you can't have the driveways in the same location. That, wherever that property was, it's not that same property now, so the driveways will have to be moved or removed or
Re-permitted.
combined, or whatever the case may be.
We have an approved plat from back then that DOT signed off on.
That's the
Showing
plat.
those cleaned off and all, so
Yeah.
something, yes, a new change would require that to go before
Right.
that as well, so you're right.
And just to go back to Ms. Giles, what was the request? Because it's got, both Engelman and Church Street have left turn lanes existing. Are you asking for protected lefts?
Protected lefts
Okay.
going in all directions. I mean, it is a absolute nightmare, and it really is just, I mean, it's, somebody's gonna get killed there every other day. I mean, you're having that problem now, and then you're gonna add all this traffic.
Was there a answer to your request for protected lefts from DOT or the city?
I never heard anything back. I have talked to Brian Tennant, Mike Nunn, Don McPherson, Mike Garrison, and Mark Aldridge. From 2022, I've been making this request and cannot get answers.
Thank goodness I was gone by then, but
I have the emails to showcase it, so.
Mark is retired, Dawn is still there, and it may not be appropriate, but I don't mind calling DOT
But
and see where they're at with the study.
if you want to find some interesting information, just call and figure out how many fatalities and how many accidents have happened right there, and that'll tell you all you need to know as you make this decision. I mean, it's terrible.
I can reach out to staff and we can
Start
get
that
some
process,
information.
that'd be good.
Thank
I'll
you.
be happy to facilitate that.
Yes,
Is that,
thank
is
you.
that something you could potentially include to the packet to council?
Not necessarily, because again, there's no commitment.
Yes, and it's not really, right.
And again, we're land use.
Yes.
We're
That's
land
right.
use.
No, I get that.
We're land use. Doesn't fit.
I don't think that protected lefts are gonna help anything with the car wash. I mean,
I think we need it regardless of whether it's a car
You need
wash
it
or
whether-
not, but if you're
Right,
gonna
yeah.
change the use of the property and we're gonna put something on that property, you got increased traffic, which means we need something.
we probably need something for the whole corridor,
Right.
not just that
Correct.
intersection.
All right. Anything else? Anybody else? Left side?
No, sir.
Right side? Is there a motion?
Make a motion?
Go ahead.
Make a motion to recommend approval of the request to rezone property from conditional business CB 757 district to general business limited use GBLU district. The property is 0.72 acres in size and is located at the northwest corner of South Church Street and Engelman Avenue. It is addressed as 2161 South Church Street and consists of Alamance County Tax Identification Number 120948. The motion is based upon the consistency of the proposed rezoning with the comprehensive plan and that the future land use map in section 4, land use of the comprehensive plan, calls for this area to be neighborhood commercial. The request is compatible with other commercial districts and land uses in the area. This action is reasonable and in the public interest in that the proposed zoning will bring the property into compliance with the city's unified development ordinance and will also expand upon many of the existing uses currently allowed. The general land use pattern of the South Church Street corridor is a combination of uses including a car wash, auto-related uses, vacant land, and abutting residential zoning and uses to the north. Future use of the property should complement the land use pattern of the area and be context sensitive to the adjacent residential neighborhood. Any future development will be required to comply with the city's unified development ordinance.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Will you roll call the vote, please? Jamie?
Chair Kirkpatrick,
Approve.
Vice Chair Beasley,
Approve.
Member Rowe,
Approve.
Member Mills,
Approve.
Member Rayner,
Approve.
Member Hill.
Approve.
Okay, thank you. You have received a recommendation. The next step will be that the item would move forward to a city council work session, and then the city council will set a public hearing date for the matter, and then that gets advertised. And so all of this will become, and it will also be put in the newspaper as well. Feel free to contact planning staff if you have any questions.
Thank y'all.
Jamie, I got a request. Can you figure out how to shorten those motions up a little bit?
How can you read that on your phone and not need glasses?
Right.
That's it, right? Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second.
Jump on it.
Adjourn. Gavel us out.